Hello, this is Paulette Downey, and I'm back again with a message from the Lord. So, this week I'm going to be speaking on the Leviathan spirit. And so, so basically, okay, with me speaking on the Leviathan spirit, with me speaking on this particular subject, I'm going to be speaking more on what to look out for when dealing with somebody who has this spirit. So what type of characteristics and behavior that you should look out for in individuals to be able to spot the Leviathan spirit. And the reason why I'm doing that is because to actually speak to somebody with this spirit would be like speaking to a wall. So it's not. By trying to reason with somebody with this type of spirit isn't going to get you very far, and actually, it's going to exhaust you, and just cause more. Just make you more upset and just be more disturbing to you as a result of not being able to get through to an individual with this type of spirit. I'm gonna start off with before I even go into speaking on this spirit, just talking about why this spirit is difficult. Like there are a few of them, these types of spirits, and they're very difficult spirits, impossible to actually reason with. People who have these type of spirits, they're impossible to actually reason with, and try to shed light and hope that they see their destructive and toxic traits and toxic ways. So it's very difficult. It's impossible. These types of personalities only really and truly can be addressed through or by God. Like God is the only one who can really, get to the person by really bringing them to their knees and to a point where they have no choice but to change. So the reason why, the reason why I'm talking about these is because these are basically characteristics that if you were to translate them into disorders, they would be, for the most case, a narcissist or someone who has like a psychopath type of mentality. So that's the reason why they're so difficult. I worked at an association for psychotherapists. So not because I specialize as a psychotherapist, I don't have any education in this, but because I actually did events in the communications for them. I have a pretty good idea of the characteristics and dealing with them. And one of the reasons why I say that they are so difficult to deal with, and this is just this is what I've learned from the time that I worked at this association for psychotherapists. I put on a conference. I organized a 2-day conference on narcissism. That conference basically hosted a whole, the people who attended, they were psychotherapists. So they were professional psychotherapists, and they attended the event to listen to various speakers who actually they were professionals, so they are also psychotherapists or therapists, and they actually have clients who are psychotherapists. So it's basically they were speaking to people who are in the field, and the speakers were basically talking about the difficulties and the challenges of actually giving therapy to narcissists. So they were not offering remedies of how to, how to talk the person out of becoming a narcissist. like these conversations, these chit chats were nothing about, how to remedy and how to change someone who is a narcissist and to help them see the light, so to speak. So that was not the case with any of these speakers when they were speaking to their audience about narcissism. They were basically speaking to these people, these group of people, these group of professionals about how to deal with the various challenges, how to deal with it, and how to, navigate when actually giving therapy to somebody who has, who actually has this disorder. That's basically why I say that someone who is a psychopath, someone who is a narcissist, these are not people who you can actually change. From the professional point, like I said, from the disorder point, they're not people who you can put in the chair and actually change. And you say, well, then why did they even go? Like, why do people who have these type of disorders actually, show up at, like a psychotherapist's office? What is the reason why they would even bother to show up? And these group of professionals basically said the reason why they show up is because they are in danger or at risk of either losing their marriage, losing their job, losing a promotion, so they're basically at risk of losing something. They're basically like they're in a position where their back has to be put up against the wall and they have no choice but to go see a psychotherapist in order to keep what it is that they want. So they're not going because they're looking for change. They're not going because they recognize that, my behavior is bad behavior and I don't want to have this behavior anymore. They're not going to the therapist for that reason. They are going because they don't want to lose something. So that's the difficulty. And so when you translate those type of disorders into the spiritual, because it's all spiritual, we're all of disorders, be they mental, emotional, whatever it is all spiritual, and they're all dealing with demons. So when we talk about it in the spiritual sense, we are talking about the various spirits, like what I'm going to be speaking on this week, the Levianthan spirit, and there are going to be a few others that I'm going to be speaking on in the weeks to come. So that's why I just want to, put that forth as to you're not trying to change the individual, and I'm not going to be talking about changing the individual. I'm just going to be talking about spotting these various characteristics that you see in an individual that will indicate that you are dealing with somebody who has, in this case, a Leviathan spirit. And one more thing about the therapy. Yes, and one more thing I have to say before I even go any further is that even when the psychotherapist is dealing with the person, their goal is, even when they're sitting in that chair, it's not, like I said, they're not going to make changes and become better. They are going, and the speakers talked about how difficult it is to actually give therapy to people with these types of characteristics, or these mental disorders, as they are called. So for us to try and change them, you have to take them in prayer. That's the only way in which change is going to happen with people who exhibit these types of traits. That's the only way in which you're going to see any kind of change. You have to just take it to prayer. Like if it's somebody if it's a close family member, a close friend or someone, you have to take it in prayer, or coworker, or whatever. These are traits that you have to pray about, because only God can change individuals who have these disorders, or in this case, we're going to be talking about spirits. So I'm going to be actually talking about like demonic spirits, because that's basically what they are. And these demonic spirits, which really have have attached themselves to these individuals. And before I even go into it, I'm going to want to talk about why do people have like these types of spirits. And one would be, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago, it has everything to do, it could be like I want ancestral curses. So like the example that I gave about lying, and some people, they just habitually lie, and that's something, when you look down on their family tree, that's something that you're going to continue to see. So that's one reason. Another reason, it could be occult practices, the things that they are doing in the occult, which has opened doors for these manifestations to take place in them as a result. Because by opening these doors with the occult, with various occults, then they are opening up, like parts of them where demons can actually go in and take over, and do take over with these types of characteristics. Another way is unforgiveness, brokenness, hurt. So these people are broken people, these people are hurt people, these people are people who are dealing with unforgiveness in their lives. And of course, when you're dealing with unforgiveness and you are broken, then you are susceptible to, again, attracting demons, which can then manifest in all these ways. So these are like the main reasons that this type of these types of spirits exist. Like I said, ancestral. It's not all because of what they've experienced in the world. Some of it, like the world does shape them. Some of it is DNA. Some of it comes with how what, like I said, ancestral curse is something that's been passed on to them, and then the environment that they are in has helped. How can I put it? Enhance what the traits, the various traits that are there. So it's not like they're completely. They are. God gives all of us. He makes us all very beautiful in our natural form, without the environment shaping us. He has given us all very beautiful and wonderful traits. Of course, the environment that you grow up in can play a part. But we don't want to blame it on the environment and say it is because of the environment and not the individual. Because at the same time, there are choices. Now, the individuals, they are, depending, like if they're educated, they know the terminology, and they know that the terminology fits them. They know, they're aware. It's not like they're unaware and they're clueless as to their destructive character traits and toxic behavior. They're very well aware of it, and some of them really, really do enjoy being like. They really enjoy exhibiting those types of traits and being that individual with just this type of disorder. Like they're very well aware, and they actually enjoy it. Like they actually enjoy it. There are some people who they may not know the technical terms. They may not even know that these technical terms exist. Mind you, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, it wasn't something that was really even being talked about. Like when I organized the event on narcissism, that was in 2015. So that was in 2015 when I actually organized this event on narcissism. And it wasn't like there were a whole bunch of events going on narcissism and narcissistic behavior at that time. So, I mean, but it seems like very close to COVID when that whole thing happened, then, like everyone started talking about narcissism and psychopaths and everything like that. It's just become so mainstream. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it wasn't such a thing. But anyway, so just so that you can equate it, so that you can understand it better. But these are demons at the end of the day. So I want to talk about ways in which you can spot these, when you are dealing with someone with a Leviathan spirit. So I wrote these down. This is something that I looked up, and then I'm going to give examples as best as I can. The first one here is the King of Pride that I have here. Yes, the King of Pride. So these, someone who is very prideful. Of course, we know that pride is part of the seven deadly sins. Many people may know that. So pride being the deadliest of the seven. And so the person this spirit is a very prideful spirit. So it is a spirit that it's a spirit that may brag a lot about itself, give false impressions about itself. It's a spirit that will lie about its credentials, lie about their education. They will. They're not teachable. Like they're not the type of people that you can correct. So they scorn correction. They scorn anything that they scorn it. They scorn anything that has to do with you telling them that they're in the wrong. They do not like constructive criticism. They look at that as a weapon that you're using against them. They look at that as something as very demeaning and rude. This is a major trait in somebody with this type of spirit. So they are very unteachable. They don't believe that they need to be taught on anything. So they're also unteachable. Like there's that whole thing with pride where they have this kind of like know-it-all mentality. Like they know everything. And so that's another way of really because it's the Leviathan spirit. So that was like a sea creature that was, could not be destroyed by anyone. Like God was the only person who could destroy that creature. No man, no person could destroy that creature. So that's why I'm saying with this spirit, it is a spirit that only God can bring the person to their knees. It's not something that you and I can, confront this person with and, have a chit chat and, point out their flaws and they're going to listen. No, they're not. And this is a spirit that you have to take in prayer and allow God to do the work in that individual. Just pray for that person. So yes, so they're not teachable. So they're not, they're not teachable. So they're not going to, they scorn. They scorn on anything, any kind of advice, any kind of correction that you have to give them. And yes, they're very prideful. And, part of the pride, another thing with the pride is they don't they don't want to come across as being wrong or being defeated. Like they're very the pride is so built into them. Not built into them, but it's so because of the demons. It's not built into them, but it's because of the demons, the spirits that live, the evil spirits that are in them. So being wrong, like it's just something they just can't admit to being wrong, and they can't allow it to be so that they are wrong. So pride will continue, will keep them from like admitting that they are in the wrong, and that work needs to be done with them and done in them. And so then another one is twisting the truth. So I want to give an example of this one. So basically, I mean, twisting the truth is twisting the truth. I want to give an example on this one. So an example of this one would be, how can I put it? Okay, so I'm going to say, somebody takes something of yours. So somebody takes whatever, a possession or a thing or whatever, and they take it of yours, and you learned that they took something of yours. Like you actually, you have the proof, it's all there. Like that something was taken, that that what is gone, they took it. Like you have the proof. And you confront them with whatever it is that they took from you. So somebody with this type of spirit, so because we're talking about twisting the truth here. So somebody with this type of spirit will say, because you have proof, that they took it. So this is one of the things that they will do. They took it, but they didn't know that it was yours. And so that's been established. They took it and they didn't know it was yours, so that's why they took it. But it wasn't theirs. So whatever it was that was taken, it wasn't theirs. It was yours. And they took it knowing it wasn't theirs. And so you basically say, well, you know what? You took it, so that's fine. Give it back to me. I don't have it. Okay, that's fine. Compensate me for it. Well, I can't compensate you for it, and I shouldn't have to compensate you for it because I didn't know it was yours. Had I known it was yours, I wouldn't have taken it. And it's like, but you shouldn't have taken it anyway. Compensate me for it. It's like, no, I'm not going to compensate you for this because I didn't know that it was yours, and I don't know what your problem is because I didn't know. Like I'm sorry that I took it, but I didn't know it was yours, and so why should I compensate you for something that I didn't know that was yours? And it's like, it doesn't matter. I know you know it was mine, but the point is, it wasn't yours, and you took it, and now you know that it is mine, even though I know you knew it was mine, but you took it anyway. Compensate me. No, I'm not going to compensate you. I don't know why you're making such a problem out of this. I don't know what the big deal is. I didn't know. I'm not going to compensate you because I didn't know it was yours. That's the twisting. And so what they do is they turn the thing around to make you like the villain and them the victim. And that's a classic example of somebody that has that type of Levianthan spirit. So they will twist something completely, twist it around, just like this, one of the points. Twist it around to the point where if you don't have your sanity, you're going to actually believe you are the victim. Oh no, you are the villain, and they are the victim in this whole thing where they stole something that was yours, and you have no right being upset with them because they said they did not know it was yours, and so they shouldn't have to pay you because their reason is they didn't know it was yours. So this is a classic. This is a classic, and this is just one example of the Leviathan spirit when we're talking about the whole twisting. So another one would be, and with the twisting, and I don't know if I should put this here. Maybe I'll actually wait until we get down to, no, I'll just put this one here. Say, for example, so that was one way of twisting. Another way could also be if, say, for example, you caught, and I'm just going to use this silly example, but I'm going to use it anyway. They're in the cookie jar and their hand is in the cookie jar, and you catch them in the cookie jar actually taking the cookie out and biting it, and then you say you have no right. And I'm just using this is silly, but to get the point across, and they bite the cookie, and so you catch them, they're there, and you're saying, like, what are you doing? Taking my cookies out of the cookie jar. And they would basically say, you're not, I'm not taking your cookie out of the cookie jar. And it's like, yeah, but I see you taking the cookie out of the cookie jar. And it's like, no, you don't, there's something wrong. So it's a matter of twisting and making it seem like there is something wrong with what you are seeing and making you the villain and making themselves the victim. So that's one thing. That is one of the traits. Actually, I was going to read, you know what, I'll get the Bible out. I'll get the Bible out later. Just have to go into that example. So another one is sowing division and creating chaos. So that is another one. And I actually have a very good one for this one as well. So these are people who actually, they like to actually, like, they deliberately create division amongst people. And I find this a lot in the workplace. I found this a lot in the workplace, actually. I found that this is something that goes on a lot in the workplace, and with various various people. And I'm gonna go into a scenario where I was working in this environment, in a sales environment, and sales, you get, that's where you learn about people. You really learn about people when you're working in a sales. So it's like commission sales, or salary and commission. So you really learn about individuals when you are working in that type of environment. Like some people are more hungry than others, and because they're more hungry than others, they're willing to, cut corners to get sales. And when I'm not talking about, like, I'm just talking about trying to grab onto people, grab onto customers that are coming in, and they will do certain things in order to get all the customers if they can. There was this particular person who, actually, there were a couple of people. Well, there was one person who I was working with, who we were all working with, and this person had a lot of seniority. So she had probably the most seniority with this company. And a lot of seniority with this company. So naturally, when you have a lot of seniority, there are perks that come to that. Perks such as getting the best hours, and things, even like raises, and it just happens when you put in a lot of time with the company. That's just how it goes. It's how it goes. I've worked with enough companies to know that, and I have reaped that as well. As you work for a company longer, you and you show your loyalty to the company, you are going to reap certain benefits that other people who haven't been there as long aren't going to reap. So there was this there is this lady, this woman, who really and truly, I just want to put it down to envy, which actually the Leviathan spirit is that's very much in the Leviathan spirit. So she started to spread, um, she started to basically create a campaign about this woman. Now, there were certain traits about this woman that, they were, hungry. She liked her sales. Um, but just because someone is more, how can I put it? They like their sales, and they try to grab more customers, and they're not as considerate when it comes to the other people who are working with them in like spreading the wealth, so to speak, with customers that come in to buy products and stuff. So there is that, but just because that person had that particular trait, there was no reason to basically spread a campaign spear about that person and say, like how greedy that person was, and say, like why does this person get, like the best hours, and they get the best hours, and the hours that they get, that's where they make the most money, and and this particular person went around to all of us basically trying to tarnish this woman's reputation with us. Now, I saw it. I noticed it. It was something I noticed. And, but she was doing a good job, really, of tarnishing this woman's reputation. Like I said, I'm not denying that there were some traits with respect to, that certain kind of professionalism where you should, be very, thoughtful in ensuring that, not trying to take all the, customers for yourself. There is that, and we should be very respectful of that. But just because someone is not respectful of that does not give any of us the right to start spreading a campaign smear about the person and basically trying to belittle the person and make the person feel uncomfortable coming to work. And that's exactly what was happening. Now, with this person, do I think that this person said nice things about me behind my back? No, I don't.